Sisu is a new period piece action thriller that is directed by Jalmari Helander, I think that's his name. Movie takes place during World War II and it stars Jamari Tormilla, I think that's his name. Stars him as this lone guy walking through a scorched earth area in northern Finland. He runs across some Nazi soldiers who decide to take his gold. They quickly find out that he is no ordinary miner, and that sets up a pretty fun action movie. Sorry, I'm just getting around to reviewing it. I'm still tied up with a bunch of videos that I still need to get caught up on. That still means I got videos coming for Super Mario Brothers and, you know, 1001 and Air and a bunch of other movies, but let's stick to the script, one thing at a time. Sisu is a very straightforward premise. It's a very simple ass movie. If you're coming into this movie looking for a complex plot or a story that has a lot of underlying depth and meaning and all this extra stuff, it's not really that type of movie. There's not that many people in the movie. There's not that much dialogue in the movie. In fact, the main character, you would think that he's a mute because the entire movie, he doesn't really say anything. It also lends a great physicality to the performance of Jamari. I'm just gonna call him JT from now on, calling him JT because I feel like I'm just fucking up his name beyond all repair. So JT lends a lot of physicality to his performance in this movie. He's not saying anything for most of the movie, so a lot of his performance is non-verbal. You gotta look at his facial expressions, you gotta look at how he's moving himself throughout each scene. He's able to convey emotion and able to convey simple things without saying anything, and I think that's the mark of a good actor. A pretty good job as this badass old man that just decides to go to war with these Nazis, and the Nazis, you know, they picked a fight with the wrong guy. A lot of people are gonna compare this movie to, like, they've called it John Wick, they've called it Mad Max. You know what I'm gonna call this movie? I'm gonna call it Tarantino, except in World War II. This is more of a Quentin Tarantino movie to me. Like, a lot of the style, the violence, the gore, the blood, even some of the humor reminds me of a Tarantino movie. If you're looking for blood, there's like a shit ton of blood in this movie, extra goopy, huge spray type of blood that you see in Tarantino movies. And if you're looking for a really weird but interesting foot fetish, no, I'm just kidding. That's not in this movie. There's no foot fetish. There's no obsession with feet. There's barely anybody that gets to show their feet in this movie. So if you did come into this movie and you were excited for a foot fetish for some strange reason, I have to, again, remind you that Tarantino did not direct this movie, but he's directing another movie that's coming out in like a year or two. So hey, you know, got something to look forward to. Also, shout out to the cinematography of this movie. They did a pretty good job at depicting this area in Finland. I love the landscape. I love the environment. I love the color schemes and the color grading that they used for the shots in this movie. A lot of darker hues, a lot of grays, a lot of blues. Trying to depict the area in this movie as kind of a scorched earth area where it's like the Nazis have blown up a lot of shit and have burned a lot of villages and homes and stuff. So it feels like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, even though it's, you know, it's a World War II thing, and this apparently was a thing in World War II. But either way, I like the way they captured the scenery here. This old man is badass. He's like the thing that refuses to die. It's kind of fun seeing him innovate and seeing him figure his way out of a lot of the situations in this movie. So in that sense, it's definitely gonna remind you of Taken, where it's like these terrorists, they kidnapped the wrong person's daughter and now he has to go show them his particular set of skills. There's a fun thing that this movie does with the reputation of this old man once the Nazis start figuring out who he is, and that kind of reminded me a little bit of John Wick. But outside of that, it's a Tarantino movie, man. Like I said, the story here is not very complex. It's a very simple, straightforward story. There's not a lot of depth to this narrative here. The main character himself, I just feel like I could have gotten a little bit more from him in this movie. There's nothing really that gets me attached to his character beyond him killing Nazis, and that's pretty awesome. But I wish the movie had taken a little bit more time to like really flesh him out a little bit more, really give his character a few more dimensions, or maybe a little bit more that I could get attached to. The characterization of some of the side characters in the movie, like I feel like the movie just didn't take the effort to really make them feel like people. These are side characters that do have a role in the movie and have a role in the third act of the movie, but I just feel like the movie did the bare minimum with them. It's not that I'm hating on them being in the movie or anything. It's just kind of a frustration that when they start doing stuff, I'm like, I don't even know you. I don't even know your name. Like, who are you? Where did you come from? What's your deal? And also, as simple of a movie as it is, I do feel like in the third act of the movie, they started to get a little bit convenient with certain things. Certain plot points just started to feel like a little bit too unrealistic, and that kind of clashed with the tone and the style of the movie that they had set up beforehand. There's conveniences in every movie, of course, but it started to feel like some impossible shit started happening in the third act, and you're just supposed to go with it. And if you do go with it, you're gonna have a good time. Sisu is actually a really fun, badass action movie. I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy this one. I'm gonna leave Sisu in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. What's a good action movie that you've seen lately that's not John Wick? Go ahead and put that in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.